8:40, and each and every day she sits on the editorial board of their St. Louis Post-Dispatch, our hometown newspaper, stltoday.com/opinion, and she helps shape the conversation here in town. Good morning, Deb Peterson.
Good morning, McGraw Millhaven.
Good
How are
morning,
you?
Deb.
You say
Good
hi
morning, Kelly.
Okay. I was going to say, are you going to snub Kelly too, or what? All right. I love this, or not love, but I just am completely dumbfounded by this Missouri State Supreme Court decision 5-2 to deny same-sex benefits to this state patrol officer who died in the line of duty on Christmas.
Pretty amazing, isn't it?
It is.
Yes, so this patrolman died in the line of duty helping a motorist on Highway 44 Christmas Day 2009. He was in a same-sex partnership for 15 years, and he and his partner were raising a son, and he was denied benefits because they were unmarried.
Right.
Now, of course, they couldn't be married in Missouri, so it is the sort of a law that just defies your imagination, because if you can't be married and you're denied benefits because you're unmarried, obviously you had no choice. So they make the point, the state in arguing this case made the point that a heterosexual couple, opposite sex relationship of the same duration, same description, also would have been denied spousal benefits because they were unmarried. However, that couple could have chosen to be married in the state of Missouri.
Right.
So the ruling points to the fact that if people, supporters who want to change this law really need to work on the law itself. This case, the court said repeatedly, was not about changing the same-sex marriage law. So the court ruled correctly in a very narrow definition of what the law is, refusing to tackle the issue of marriage, same-sex marriage benefits.
We talked about this in the board meeting yesterday with your co-host or your colleague Tony Messenger. And in the state of Missouri, there's going to be a soldier who's stationed at Fort Leonard Wood who wants to marry a same-sex partner will be allowed, the federal government and the military will allow him to leave the state of, he or she, leave the state of Missouri, marry in a state that is friendly to gay marriage, and then move back with their spouse on the base here in Missouri.
It's ironic, isn't it? I mean, it really does. See, this is when states, opt out of federal rulings. This is what happens. You get this patchwork of laws, and people who don't like the law in Missouri go elsewhere, but then they come here and they live here. Why can't we extend to these citizens what the federal law is allowing them to have? I don't understand it.
I don't. It's baffling to me.
And Judge Titleman, Richard Titleman, wrote a very powerful and strongly worded dissent in which he was joined by Judge George Draper. And he said this continued the discrimination and the creating a class of people who were looked down upon by the state. He did not like the opinion that said we are only ruling on marital benefits. So it's a very interesting opinion. It is online. If you go to Mo Courts, I guess mocourts.gov, you will find it, and it's pretty fascinating. And I'll look at the insight into the minds of our Supreme Court judges.
It's
only the justice is called the justice.
It just makes you think about decades ago when interracial marriage was
it's
not
exactly
allowed.
And yes, Judge Titleman made that comparison and said, times change. The law needs to keep up with the times. This is not, it's exactly the same case. So it is very interesting that discrimination continues alive and well.
Are you surprised that this story, I know it's been talked about, but it doesn't seem to have made the splash that I thought it would in terms, or am I missing something?
I think that I'm never certain what will get a lot of attention or won't. This, to me, was a compelling case because these were very committed people. They were, I don't know, what do you do? owned a house. They were raising a child. They attended church regularly together. They had all of the
right. Nobody questioned their relationship.
No, and
right.
As a matter of fact, I wondered how the Highway Patrol handled the patrolman part of the couple, and seems to have functioned very well within that sphere, and I don't think was the victim of any kind of outright discrimination. So.
Right.
Maybe the citizens, which is often the case, the citizens in communities are much more accepting than they are portrayed to be.
Yeah.
There was a fascinating piece on the Daily Show where they sent two people who were not boyfriends, but they sent them to the South, where they assumed there would be a lot of discrimination against the same-sex couple. And these two men paraded around and looked very much, were kissing in photo booths and doing all these things. And all of the Southern people they encountered were incredibly polite and, very congratulating of them, and just extremely nice. So putting this sort of lie to the myth that, everybody in the South, hates gay couples, we just have these very distorted views. I don't know where they come from. I might say the media if I was a little more cynical.
They come from the liberals out there who don't know what's going on. That's where they come from.
There does. Well, in the Daily Show piece, he talks to Nate Silver, who's an analyst
right.
and does a lot for the Washington Post. And he said, well, when you came up with your stats, Nate, how much time did you spend in Mississippi? And Nate said, none. And then he says, how about Alabama? None. And he said, but I looked at the data. So that's how the whole thing, transpired, that as a result of that, they did send people out to do this. And yes, you're right. I think a lot of liberals sit back, make assumptions, and, it's people all over the map are very hardened in their points of view and develop stereotypes with great.
Well, I'll tell you this, that I read both opinions and the dissents and looked at Nate Silver's data and read War and Peace and read the Iliad and Homer while waiting online on healthcare.gov.
But does it make you feel better now that experts from industry are coming in to fix this?
It makes me feel better
Oracle and Google and.
It makes me feel better that President Obama hasn't been able to get on healthcare.gov.
Hey, at least 6 people
either.
have, or 250 people have.
I mean, more people got Cardinal tickets online than got healthcare online.
Yeah, it is. It's been a fiasco, hasn't it?
Yes,
it's very hard to make excuses for what's happened. Although I did like that Kathleen Sebelius said it's my fault, and I looked at the hearing in which they said, "Oh, come on," and she said, "No, it's my fault. I was in charge of this. I messed up."
Yeah.
I don't know what you do beyond that. I mean, I think they're striving to get it fixed and to get these problems taken care of. It certainly was not for a major piece of domestic legislation, you would certainly hope that somebody would have been more on top of this. Maybe the president. So, yeah, it's not a good moment, is it?
Ladies and gentlemen, she sits on the editorial page of our hometown newspaper, stltoday.com/opinion. That's where you read her and her colleagues' opinions each and every day. You help shape the story of the region. Deb,
Can I say, let it be known that I was critical of liberals, critical of the president.
Mark the day and time. How was the World Series gala last week? Did you miss me?
I missed you, yeah. I was about the 7th inning. If I could have left to go home, I would have. It was freezing. They were losing.
No. The gala, last week's gala.
The gala was grand. It was lovely. People are in such good spirits and a lot of fun. I saw lots of friends of yours. None of them talked about you, of course,
good.
But I know they were your friends.
And if they did, they just said bad things about me.
Did you have fun at the Carney Kids?
I did. We raised a lot of money. It was a good time.
Did you wear a costume?
I did not.
No.
I did not wear a costume.
Actually,
no.
yeah, just he was
right.
himself.
Thanks,
Deb, have a good week.
We got it.
Have a good week, Deb.
Okay,
You got it.
Bye-bye.
8:50. We'll check in with Mike Kelly. Talk a little Mizzou, Tennessee. That's next.